Let's read the 21st chapter. Pujya Swamiji coming to America. This will be exciting. That's her guru that she met in India, who told her to go back to America. Now he's coming to see her. Or, well, probably an ashram of sorts near her, or some community center. Now, I have to tell you that I might have to let Sandy out of my room, partially through reading this, in case you wonder. This is from January through March of 1997. Don't worry, Swamiji said when he pushed me out of the ashram in December. I am coming to America next month. He had founded the world's first Hindu-Jain temple in 1984 in Monroeville, a woodsy, hilly suburb of Pittsburgh, and had spent many months each year in the United States since then, establishing and inspiring that and other temples. That's very interesting, a Hindu and a Jain temple at the same time. We love interfaith dialogue. In August of 1987, 10 years prior, at the end of a special event in the Hindu-Jain temple, many devotees, including a few scholars on Hinduism, had met with Pujya Swamiji to discuss the state of Hinduism in America. Indians born and raised in India, steeped in Hindu culture, simply live these rites and rituals daily without necessarily knowing the specific meanings or significance, and it's difficult for them to explain them to the inquiring minds of their Western-raised children. I'm laughing because in my periphery, my dear cat Sandy just knocked down my laundry bin and it fell on him. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, I'm gonna have to let him out of my room. One moment.
Alright. Come here, Mr. Beans. Well, see you later.
Thank you for your patience. Although the Hindu tradition is one of the oldest, largest, and most influential religions on earth, with over 7,000 years of history and prehistory, and 1.2 billion adherents worldwide, there was no comprehensive encyclopedia of Hinduism. So, Pujya Swamiji had proposed, we should bring out an encyclopedia of Hinduism to provide your children and your children's children and all the children of the world an authentic, informative, insightful, and inspiring source of reference for Hinduism. The others had looked at him incredulously. It would be a Herculean undertaking. Do you really think it can be done? Someone had asked. Pujya Swamiji had closed his eyes and opened them a short while later. Yes, he said, it can be done, and we will do it. When I asked him how he had known to say yes, he explained, I needed to see if I received the green signal from God. The moment, with closed eyes, I got the signal. I knew the project could be done and would be brought to successful completion. So, beginning in 1987, Swamiji oversaw a publication of the world's first comprehensive encyclopedia of Hinduism. That winter, Swamiji had founded the India Heritage Research Foundation, the IHRF, a non-profit organization dedicated to bringing out the multi-volume work. The IHRF's activities have since expanded and now include innumerable projects, including free schools, orphanages/gurukuls, vocational training programs, women's development and rural development projects, disaster relief, ecological preservation programs, and much more. So, In December 1996, as I was preparing to leave Rishikesh for California, with as much enthusiasm as one prepares for a colonoscopy, work on the encyclopedia, 10 years later, was in full swing at a network of dozens of offices around the globe, headquartered at the University of South Carolina in Columbia. Board meetings, advisory meetings, editorial meetings, and awareness-raising events took place regularly, and Pujya Swamiji's presence and guidance were crucial. "I'll be in the US in January," he told me. "Will you come to California? Please?" I begged. "Sure," Swamiji said. In Miracle of Love, Ram Dass, the renowned Harvard professor turned brilliant spiritual leader, shared a story of his experience with his guru, Baba Neem Karoli Maharaj. I'm sure many of you know Ram Dass. If you don't, that's your homework. Of Ram Dass's own words, Maharaji would usually agree to any request from a devotee. People frequently invited him to come and bless their homes and to partake of the food prepared by the family. He would inevitably agree to all these requests, yet, more often than not, he wouldn't go. When questioned by one of his devotees about his habit of making and breaking promises, Maharaji replied, "I'm just a big liar." If only someone had thrust that book into my hands in the beginning, it would have saved me a lot of heartache. I was being initiated into not only a world of spiritual awakening, but also one in which yes can also mean no. The gears of my brain had to readjust themselves. Neural networks had to be rewired. In the world I had entered, sure and definitely do not mean sure or definitely. They mean roughly, maybe, but quite likely not. As tomorrow, in response to questions regarding Pujya Swamiji's return to the ashram, actually meant I don't know, and was said to keep me happy in the moment, so too I learned over the years, but not quickly enough to prevent disappointment in early 1997. Swamiji's sure means, in this moment, looking into your eyes, which are filled with love and devotion, that sounds absolutely like the right thing to plan to do. However, in the next moment, or a week or a month later, it probably isn't the right thing to do, as the flow of the river of life in which Swamiji is anchored has taken a different course. I didn't know that at the time. All I knew was that he said, sure. Therefore, he would come. I daydreamed constantly about where I would take him. I'd show him the sunset at Half Moon Bay. I'd take him to walk among the redwoods in the Muir Wood. Oh my goodness. The Muir Woods. The Muir Woods. I'd cook Sattvic Indian meals from my Indian Ayurvedic cookbook. I even had the property manager of my apartment fix the sofa bed in my living room so I could sleep on it while my room served as a perfect restful abode for Swamiji. At a moment of devotion-induced delusion or loss of common sense, I imagined bringing him to my PhD program classes at the Pacific Graduate School of Psychology. Today, boys and girls, for show and tell, I brought my guru, an enlightened master. The absurdity was lost on me at the time, and I imagined how great it would feel to have him see my school, where I studied, where I ate lunch. In elementary school, we used to have Grandparents' Day, where those of us fortunate enough to have a living grandparent nearby could bring them to the school. Grandparents are interested in where their elementary school grandkids eat lunch. Indian gurus, it turns out, are not. They're not interested in where their graduate school devotees eat lunch. Swamiji listened to me with tenderness and compassion when I would call him regularly. sometimes from the payphone in the courtyard at school, early in the morning for me in California, his evening in India, to inquire whether dates had been finalized for his visit. He never once said, or even insinuated, "Are you crazy?" But the dates kept getting postponed. My quote-unquote husband, Jim, had returned from India, and we had a sweet, or more correctly, bittersweet evening together. We met at our favorite vegan restaurant, and over plates decorated artistically with swirls of raspberry syrup and bread dipped in tofu garlic sauce. We discussed the end of our marriage. He had kept me abreast of his Indian adventures through detailed faxes, so there was no need to repeat stories of the women he'd been with or the length and breadth of his travels. I wanted to share the immensity of joy I was experiencing, but I knew that to Jim it could feel like a knife piercing his heart. So he stayed mostly quiet and spoke of logistics. My stepfather, Frank, a divorce lawyer, would do the paperwork. I would leave Jim with mostly everything to help him get back on his feet and to free me of the chains of logistics conflict. As I planned Swamiji's imminent visit, I envisioned him again meeting Jim and laying a hand on Jim's heart that would heal the wound and fill him with love. However, Swamiji didn't come. An urgent meeting for the encyclopedia at the Chennai office forced a postponement from late January to early February. Then a winter cold caused a postponement from early February to mid-February. Something or other kept coming up and causing the dates to be pushed back week by week. Finally, he landed in Pittsburgh the second week in March, but regrettably he explained he would not be able to come to California. So on Friday, March the 14th, 1997, my 26th birthday after completing my last final exam, I took a red-eye from San Francisco to Pittsburgh. I spent a week with him in Monroeville, 10 miles outside of Pittsburgh. An Indian couple had taken over administration of the encyclopedia project and moved to Edmonton, Alberta, into the house next door to the Hindu Jain temple. A generous devotee of Swamiji had purchased it a few years earlier, so the encyclopedia project would have an office, and so Swamiji could stay there and meet with people when he came to support the temple and work on the encyclopedia. Until then, he'd stayed at the temple, but now that the work of the foundation had expanded and it had its own head office, it made sense for him to stay there. Living under the same roof with Swamiji was ecstasy. There were no boys I had to go through to get an appointment into his inner quarters. The office was on the ground floor of the house, and he spent all his waking, non-meditating hours there, poring over files, charts, and graphs, as well as plans for the upcoming summer awareness-raising tour with the Canadian director. Swamiji had asked a local devotee to bring an extra desk and chair for me, so I had my own corner of the office. My parents had just given me a laptop computer for my birthday, and, as I set it on the desk, a mere 10 feet from the couch where Swamiji sat with files spread out on a low coffee table, my breath slowed and deepened the way it does when I begin meditation. I felt my lips spread as a huge smile opened across my face. I was in heaven, and it was a home office in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. Do you remember how big laptops were in 1997? My goodness. I imagine that they're almost as big as the desktops we have today. Office hours ran from about 7 in the morning to 10 p.m. Pujya Swamiji came downstairs each morning after his prayers and meditation and began reviewing papers, making notes on dozens of small pads that he circled, or that he called diaries. I'm not sure where the word circled came from. He had a different diary for each aspect of the project, a diary for each city he was going to, a diary for each person he was working with. The Devanagari script looked to me like artistic hieroglyphs, carrying secrets and wisdom within it beyond even the perfection of his lettering. His organization, albeit relegated to tiny slips of paper bound in spiral notebooks and spread across a table, rivaled anything I had seen in any corporate office. Months later, when I gave him, on his birthday, a beautiful cloth-bound planner with sections for calendars, contacts, and to-do lists by day, week, and month, he smiled, thanked me, and regifted it to someone working for him in Rishikesh. Yes, he said, many people have given me those, extinguishing in 6 words the bubbling excitement of my ingenuity, but I prefer my own system. Each day, streams of people would float through, ranging from devotees who came for his darshan and blessings, or to spend a few precious moments in his presence to board members. Oh my goodness. The treasurer balancing the accounts of payments made to scholars, the secretary and joint secretary reviewing meeting minutes and outstanding action items, and members and executives of the Hindu Jain temple for Swamiji's guidance on issues arising within the temple or his advice on upcoming programs, projects, and expansion plans. Just last few paragraphs of this chapter. I sat at my desk in bliss, understanding only random English words that have become ubiquitous in Hindi and Gujarati as they were interspersed between torrents of those languages. Some Hindi, blueprints, more Hindi, architect, more Hindi, foundation stone, Hindi or Gujarati, failing marks, Gujarati, hopeless, Gujarati, giving up, Gujarati, please, blessings, as parents sought blessings for their struggling children. My work was much the same as it had been in India. Swamiji brought a manila folder with him from Rishikesh and handed me the contents one by one, with instructions ranging from, please tell them I cannot attend the event, but I send my blessings, to tell them to call the scholar and ask when his articles will be submitted. Tell them time is very short. Or ask the doctors who are coming to Rishikesh next month that they would like to run a free medical camp at our clinic. It would be good to offer services to the local people. With each instruction, my heart swelled in my chest. This was the best place, the best moment. I was the luckiest person on earth. As I watched myself, I laughed. I, who couldn't muster enthusiasm for research papers on the role of serotonin reuptake in depression because I thought they seemed so far from the core of true importance and understanding, was ecstatic to send wedding blessings to people I didn't know and ask for updates from people I'd never met on projects I didn't understand taking place in cities I'd never heard of, all from a home office in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Life, from rising early to eating chapatis to being a clerical stenographer, had become infused with excitement. The experience of myself in Swamiji's presence was qualitatively different from my experience of self anywhere else. In his presence, everything was perfect, including my perfect role in this perfect world. It didn't matter what the role was or how mundane the task. Simply being able to swim in this ocean of perfection made it all worthwhile. Thank you for listening, and that's the end of the 21st chapter. We'll conclude our reading there for now, but I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to read to you, and how lovely it is that in dear Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati's account, she can find bliss even in the most mundane things, if it means being established in something meaningful, something greater than our limited notion of self as an expanse, an ocean of a greater universal self. Namaste.